For the past 6 years, I studied several languages, experimenting with different methods, tools, and routines. Over time, certain patterns worked especially well for me. These are 12 concepts that completely changed how I study languages. And they might change how you do it too. Number 1. Understand the structure first. Instead of jumping straight into long sentences, I started with very simple ones. I focused on how the language is built. I paid attention to the word order and what actually stays the same and what changes. When something didn't make sense, I used ChatGPT or other AI tool to clear it up. Once I started noticing patterns, the language stopped feeling random. Making new sentences became much easier. After a few months, I realized that building longer, more complex sentences was way easier, just because the simple ones were already solid. Don't try to sound advanced too early. It slows you down more than it helps. Number 2. Start with simple grammar. The same idea applies to grammar. I really recommend taking grammar slowly and building confidence step by step. When basic grammar feels natural, your brain has more space to handle extra details and harder concepts. Focus on one grammar rule at a time, or even one per study session. Don't rush into learning everything at once. Every time I skipped this step, I ended up confused and everything felt harder than it needed to be. For example, English has several past tenses. You can first learn the past simple, then add the continuous form, then understand the differences between them. After that, add another tense and compare them again. Play with them and see how they work together instead of trying to memorize everything at once. Number 3. Learn from content you enjoy. If you don't enjoy the content you are learning from, staying consistent becomes really hard. I noticed that when I forced myself to use educational materials I didn't like, I burned out quickly. Once I switched up to content I genuinely enjoy, repeating stopped feeling like work. This also helped me learn more natural language, the way people actually speak, not the textbook examples. When you already understand the topic, your brain can focus more on the language instead of trying to figure out what's going on. Words and phrases stick much faster this way. At some point, learning stopped feeling like studying and started feeling like something I just did naturally every day. Number 4. Create your own phrase list. Learning phrases you actually use in daily life makes a huge difference. These are the sentences that come up again and again, so practicing them gives you faster results. Instead of learning random example sentences, focus on what you actually say. Everyone has their own filler words and habits in their native language. Writing these down and finding natural equivalents in the target language helps a lot. When I noticed my own phrases, they felt more personal and easier to recall. Over time, I noticed I spoke more smoothly and hesitated less, especially in the casual conversations. Number 5. Link words to images or feelings. Our brains remember images and emotions much better than plain words. That's why connecting new vocabulary to images, scenes, or feelings works so well. When I heard a new word in a movie or video, I often paused and took a mental screenshot of this moment. You can even screenshot the scene or write a short note about how it made you feel. Later, when you think of the word, the image comes back automatically. This makes recall faster and more natural, especially when speaking. Instead of translating in your head, the word just shows up with the memory attached. Number 6. Make fill-in-blank exercises. This is a simple but very powerful technique. Sometimes I just describe what I'm doing or what I see. Whenever I get stuck, I notice the gap. The gap tells me exactly what I need to learn next. You can also take one sentence and change just one word each time. This helps you see how meanings changes and gives you more flexibility when speaking. It also pushes you away from always using the same basic words and encourages more precise expressions. Number 7. Fix recurring mistakes. Everyone has a few mistakes they repeat over and over. And so I did. These mistakes often feel normal because we are used to them, which is why they are easy to ignore. But if you don't fix them, they tend to stick for years. The key is to notice patterns. If you catch the same error multiple times, write it down and focus on just that one thing for a while. You don't need to fix everything at once. Fixing small but frequent errors early made my speech clearer and saved me a lot of frustration later. Number 8. Speak to yourself daily. You don't need perfect conditions to practice speaking. Talking to yourself for 10 to 20 minutes a day is more than enough. At night in my bed, I usually talked to myself and tried to describe what I was doing in the day, my plans and my thoughts about simple things. This helped me get used to forming thoughts directly in the language instead of translating them. There is no pressure and no judgment, which makes it easier to practice consistently. You will make mistakes, and that's normal. But there is a fix for that. You can always record yourself and later ask ChatGPT to point out the main errors so you know what to work on next. Number 9. Learning repair phrases. Getting stuck while speaking happens to everyone. It still happens to me. Repair phrases help you keep the conversation going instead of freezing or giving up. They give you time to think and reduce the pressure to be perfect. Once I memorized a few of them, speaking felt much safer. Even if I didn't know a word, I misunderstood something, I could still communicate. Number 10. One tiny goal per session. Focusing on one small goal per session keeps learning manageable. Instead of trying to improve everything at once, you give your brain a clear direction. This reduces overload and makes progress easier to notice. I found that fully completing one small goal felt much better than half doing many things. Those small wins build momentum and make it easier to stay consistent. Over time, they add up faster than you expect. Number 11. Be flexible, but systematic. Some days you will feel motivated, other days you won't. And that's completely normal. On low energy days, it's better to do a short review than nothing at all. Even passive exposure keeps the language fresh in your mind. On days when you feel more motivated, you can push a bit further. The key is not perfection, but consistency. A flexible system helps you keep going without burning out or taking long breaks that undo your progress. Number 12. Learn by theme or structure. Learning random words without order can feel chaotic and hard to remember. For example, learning opposites like slow and fast together helps your brain create clearer connections. But here is the catch. Don't make these groups too large. Small, focused sets are easier to manage and remember than the larger ones. You can always expand them later with more advanced vocabulary. Start simple, get comfortable, and then build on that foundation over time. And make sure to subscribe, by the way. Merry Christmas.